Tape ID, The Big Year, Sports Highlights of 1972, Lawrence Costin. Greetings everyone, welcome to The Big Year, with reflections on what has been an outstanding year in sport in Australia. Racing at its best, highlighted by Gunsin's great performances in sprinting and staying events, Roy Higgins' superb riding throughout the year, Sobar's win in the Caulfield Cup and Piping Lane's win in the Melbourne Cup, the Golden Slipper, the Doncaster, the Doomben Double and the Nationals. The Munich Olympics, Shane Gould wins 3 gold medals for Australia, and the stark tragedy of the Games. Cricket, Australia versus the rest of the world, and we fail to regain the Ashes. Trotting, Welcome Advice takes the Inter-Dominion at Albion Park. These were the headlines in sport in 1972. And in a moment, let's go back through the weeks and months that brought you such outstanding moments in sport in the big year, 72. January the 3rd, 1972, and the first $100,000 Perth Cup goes to the local stayer Fata Company. But the drama of the race centred on Igloo, a hot pre-post favourite. Igloo broke down in a track gallop days before the event, and it was feared the champion, who was runner-up to Silver Knight in the Melbourne Cup, would have to be destroyed. Racing fans and sports lovers throughout Australia waited with bated breath the announcement by the Sydney veterinary surgeon, Mr. Percy Sykes, on whether Igloo would live or die. This was Herald Chief Racing Rider Jack Elliott's report on the fateful decision.
Sydney veterinary surgeon, Mr. P.E. Sykes, and 2 other local veterinary surgeons examined and then discussed the future of Igloo for 2 hours. After the examination and discussion, it was agreed that Igloo would be saved. In a statement issued by Mr. Sykes to the Perth trainer Bob Burns, it said that the champion's amazing temperament and recuperative powers has made him improve tremendously in the last 24 hours.
January the 5th, 1972, and Garfield Sober sits up 254 on the MCG in the 3rd International between Australia and the rest of the world. Sir Donald Bradman described the innings from the West Indian as the finest ever seen on any ground ever in Australia. And Doug Walters, the New South Wales batsman, hits a century before lunch in the same match, a feat rarely achieved in first-class cricket. January the 8th, and Wonder Girl Shane Gould became the greatest swimmer the world had ever known when she broke the 100 metres record to hold every world time from 100 to 1500 metres. Shane smashed the world tie for 100 metres with a breathtaking swim of 58.5 at Sydney's North Shore Pool before a record crowd. Back in Melbourne on January the 8th, Victoria's richest trotting event, the A.G. Hunter Cup, went to the New South Wales pacer Dixie Boy. At Kooyong, tennis fans were out in record numbers to see the Australian titles. It looked like a return to the palmy days of the 50s as 12,500 fans packed the stadium at Kooyong with thousands turned away. On the cricket scene in January, the Rest of the World Series in Melbourne and Sydney was also drawing record crowds. 400 runs were scored in one day during the 4th International, the Chappell brothers each getting a century in the same innings. The month of January 1972 was indeed proving a sports bonanza. Greg Chappell went on to make 197 not out in a superb knock for Australia, getting to within 3 runs of his first double century. He spoke to Rex Mossop after his great innings.
Were you disappointed running out of partners the way you did?
Oh, a little bit disappointed, quite naturally. I've never made 200 in a game before, and I would have been very pleased to have done it. But that's the way things go, and you can't do much about that, I'm afraid.
What went on in your mind when Lilly got finally bowled there and you were left?
Well, I thought I was, trusting the luck a little bit. I had to give him the strike pretty well because the field was right back and they're giving me singles. I had to take them as they came. I couldn't very well just ignore runs. And it was just a matter of whether Dennis could do it.
Meanwhile, the New South Wales bowls team was urged not to drink before or during interstate matches. The advice came from the chairman of selectors, Mr. Roger Doyle, and repeated by a Sydney newsman.
Mr. Wells said alcohol was as foreign to good bowling as good driving. He said a sixth sense, a sense of judgment, is what bowlers must use to determine the speed of delivery of the bowl.
January the 22nd, and the 2 miles Wellington Cup saw the dismal failure of Melbourne Cup winner Silver Knight. The Knight started a 9-4 favourite for the big New Zealand 2-miler, but was never a real chance. The race went to the rank outsider Simon de Montfort at 180 to 1, the longest price winner of the race ever. Carrying 7 stone 4, Simon de Montfort raced to the lead 3.5 furlongs out and held off Sutland duty-free to win in 3:17 1/4, with Silver Knight back about 5th or 6th.
They come past the 2 furlong big. Simon de Montfort is the leader. 2 lengths away to Snowboy and Gable looking to get the run on the fence. Followed by Riverview, Johnny Cash going out after them. So, Silver Knight, he's only about 5 lengths from the leader. Down past the furlong big, they come Simon de Montfort in the lead. Followed by Suttle on the outside. Johnny Cash, farther afield, duty free. Silver Knight can't be in it. And they race down and Simon de Montfort followed by Suttle. Simon de Montfort, Suttle. Simon de Montfort ahead away, Suttle. That's the way they've hit the line in the Wellington Cup, duty free.
January the 26th, and it's top Victorian jockey Roy Higgins in his first big win of the year, the 1972 Hobart Cup. It was Roy's first win in the Tasmanian race, and he scored in a photo with the 3-to-1 chance Piping Lane, who later in the year was to win the greatest race of all, the Melbourne Cup. Who among us would have thought that the unheralded gelding Piping Lane would go on from this win to the 72 Melbourne Cup? Listen to Bill Collins' call of the last stages of the 1972 Hobart Cup.
The furlong Shipwright's got a big lead. Sabreur pegging it back rapidly, the youngster. It's Shipwright clear. Sabreur's getting to it at every stride with Piping Lane. Sabreur and Piping Lane getting through on the inside. It's going to be close. They hit the line, and I reckon Piping Lane's one at a nose to Sabreur.
In the month of February 1972, Australia successfully defended the Little America's Cup for catamarans. Quest 3, skippered by Bruce Proctor, sailed to 4 straight wins over the American challenger Weathercock. In tennis, Mel Anderson was back in the Australian Davis Cup team, and in racing in February, the great sprinting mare Dual Choice won her second Oakley Plate with 8 pounds overweight for age. Coming with a withering burst in the straight, Big Julie got up to win from Royal Canvas and Tango Miss.
It's Tango Miss just in front. Dual Choice under the whip, the danger now. She's knuckling down to it out wide. Royal Canvas coming home. Dual Choice got to the leaders, put her head in front near the line, and Dual Choice is too good. She's won it. Royal Canvas second, Tango Miss third, Arbinger.
Frank Rays rode the mare in dashing style, but her run really astounded the jockey, who thought she was gone 3 from home.
I thought we were beaten. I thought we were beaten 3 furlongs from home, and I just couldn't actually believe that she was coming on, because 3 from home, I was absolutely beat. Until we turned for home, I thought, well, I'll give her a bit of daylight, only one more effort left. Give her a bit of daylight and don't check her, and see if she can run on from there.
In the Blue Diamond Stakes at Caulfield, the Sydney colt John's Hope got in by the barest possible margin from the Bart Cummings trained Century.
Make Mine Roses led from John's Hope. Nothing much in it, though, from Century coming at them, and then Clinging Vine, Friar's Joy, Blue Mountain. John's Hope got to the front. Make Mine Roses has gone. Century out after John's Hope at the furlong, and then Clinging Vine and Friar's Joy. John's Hope in front. Century trying hard, hands and heels. He won't pull the whip on it. He's gradually getting to John's Hope now. John's Hope still in line. It's going to be close. Century gradually grabbing it. They've hit the line. Dead heat. John's Hope, Century, a dead heat in the Blue Diamond.
February the 28th, and the richest greyhound race in the Southern Hemisphere, the Australian Cup, goes to the local dog, Blackamoor Lad. Starting at 12-1, Blackamoor Lad beat the top New South Wales dogs Milo's Charm and the Cadillac. Listen to Bill Collins' great call of the 1972 Australian Greyhound Cup.
They're racing, missing the start badly, the Cadillac, and first out on the inside, Blackamoor Lad from Nulla's Call, and then Bristol Miss, followed by Tiuli. Milo's Charm looking for a run. Banker dropped out last. Young Moss, the Cadillac. Blackamoor Lad down the back from Bristol Miss. Here comes the Cadillac with a big run, followed further back in the field then by Milo's Charm. Blackamoor Lad 3 lengths in front. The Cadillac can't get past Bristol Miss, and Blackamoor Lad's got it 1 on the turn. From Milo's Charm flashing home, and then the Cadillac, but in the run home, and Blackamoor Lad turned it up to win a length. From Milo's Charm, 3 lengths the Cadillac, followed then by Banker. Next Bristol Miss, followed further back by Nulla's Call, and the last 2 were Tiuli and Young Moss.
March the 4th, and in rowing, Victoria fails dismally in the 8-oared Championship of Australia, the King's Cup.
Victoria on the western shore here trying to get back into the picture. They're unable to. They're about 3 or 4 lengths bad to New South Wales, with South Australia bringing up the rear. But it's New South Wales for the money. No worries at all. They'd have to fall out the boat to lose it. They're a length and a half in front, going very, very strongly and very, very dedicatedly to the line. There goes the bell. New South Wales for the King's Cup 1972. WA a tremendous row into second place. Good effort by the big visitors from Western Australia. Victoria third,
and South Australia bringing up the 4th place.
And at Caulfield, Roy Higgins landed his 6th Futurity Stakes win on the wonder galloper Gunsin.
Gunsin coming 4 deep around them on the turn, and they're followed by Beaches and Levian at the head of the others. Into the straight, Abdul and Raja Saab, a length and a half. Gunsin, Abdul race to the lead. Gunsin the challenger, and they're followed by Eastern Court, but Gunsin grabbed Abdul, and they're together inside the furlong. Gunsin just in front. Abdul won't give in under the whip, but Gunsin to half length in front. Then Eastern Court. Gunsin hands and heels holding them at bay, and he'll come away to win it well. Gunsin by 2 lengths at the finish. Close to the minors, or couldn't split them, Eastern Court and Abdul.
You're listening to The Big Year, sports highlights of 1972. Also in February, the Victorian Open Golf Championship went to Walter Godfrey of New Zealand in a revamped tournament that boasted brass bands and giveaways. From a casual 4-day championship, it was being promoted as a glamour event. On March the 11th, 1972, back on the racing scene, Roy Higgins capped a great career by riding 5 winners at Flemington on Newmarket Day, including the Newmarket on the Bart Cummings Train Crown.
I think your first Newmarket handicap on the Bart Cummings Train Crown.
That's right, Keith. First one. I've been trying for a long time, but finally I did break through.
Well, you knocked off a very smart mare in Dual Choice who looked to have the race won until the last half furlong, when I think the pressure of her weight caused her to shift out a little, Roy, and give you that run.
I think the honours of the race were with Jules Choice. She had to work hard with her 9 stone 7. I've had a very easy run in the race with 8 stone 4. I finished up having a perfect run, not having to leave the running rail, and undoubtedly this has won the race for me. You can't really take anything away from Jules Choice. She has run a magnificent race, and she was glorious in defeat, really.
The great race mare Dual Choice went down with colours flying. Carrying 9-7, she was there all the way. Here's a jockey, Frank Rays, after the race.
Speaking with Frank Rays, and Frank, it's always a little sad to see a champion beaten, and I think we certainly did see a champion beaten today when Dual Choice failed under her big weight of 9-7 in the Newmarket, but she certainly wasn't disgraced, Frank.
No, you could say that, and as you said, we've seen a champion get beat. Well, she is every bit of that, because considering the weight she carried, with a horse of 7-3 going with her, which I wasn't terribly concerned, because, 2 furlongs from home I knew that I had this horse beat.
That was Chatila.
Yes, Chatila, and then the last furlong and a half, then I started to drive for home because of the weight that she was carrying. I felt a furlong and a half would get me there.
March the 13th, 1972, and the Bendigo 2000 final for professional foot runners. T.W. Connick, originally from a little place called Goodnight in New South Wales, running off 9 yards, wins the big gift from the unlucky Lloyd Stringer, who recorded his 3rd second in the race. But all honours of the Bendigo 2000 for 1972 with the winner, Tim Connick.
Off and running in the Bendigo 2000 final. Ralph first out from Halloran, Connick, Wilson and Stringer at the halfway markets. Ralph just a leader from Tim Connick. Here comes Lloyd Stringer finishing over the paralysing burst. Connick in front, Connick and Stringer. Connick took out the Bendigo 2000 final, I think, from Lloyd Stringer.
And here is the winner.
Tim, congratulations on a fine win in the Bendigo 2000. How do you feel?
Oh, tremendous, Loris. Really great.
Were you always confident, Tim?
During the run, you mean?
During the run, the actual final?
No, not really. I could see Lloyd Stringer beside me, and there was another fella on my right. I think it might have been Halloran.
Might have been Halloran in the yellow.
He'd run the fastest semi, so he was a bit of a worry.
When you saw he'd run 11.7 in the semi, and you'd run 11.8 next best time, did this concern you at all?
Well, I did until Norm, my coach, told me that. He said, you'll be right. So, I sort of thought, well, I'm going to do it my best.
On March the 15th, the Australian equestrian team flew out of Melbourne for the United Kingdom and the quest for gold at the Munich Olympics. Big Bill Roycroft headed the 4-man team and had this message to sports fans at the airport.
Well, we'll be seeking gold. We'll definitely be seeking gold. And with a bit of luck, I hope to bring back some gold. It's one of these games where if you're trying very hard, there's a lot of risks. But we'll be taking a bit of risk. And hoping for a lot of medals.
March the 18th, and Roy Higgins breaks Tommy Hale's long-standing record by winning 12 races at the VRC Autumn Carnival at Flemington. Hale's record had stood since 1888. The Professor received a tremendous reception when he landed his 5th winner for the afternoon and his 12th for the carnival, and speaks about his outstanding success.
This is just a climax to riding good horses on a good course and getting the breaks, receiving the breaks through a race. I've had no barrier trouble. I've had no real trouble during a race. I've been able to get runs when I've wanted them. I've had the horse to be able to take these runs. It's just an accumulation of so many things that have combined to make this possible, and I'm very, very grateful for the horses that I have ridden over this 3 days. I don't think I've ridden a bad one, really.
At Rose Hill on the same day, the $75,000 Golden Slipper Stakes was held with the pomp and ceremony of a Kentucky Derby. The grey John's Hope took out the big prize to remain unbeaten. The favourite Sovereign Slipper was beaten into 3rd place.
Our balls are on the inside of the favourite as they turn the corner, and then 2 lengths further back Liz Light Praise, followed by Palace Lane. Coming to the furlong now, John's Hope the leader from Fleet Endeavour. I'm out on the outside, coming at him quickly now is Sovereign Slipper, and Sovereign Slipper is strongly tackling John's Hope. Within between them, I'm Scarlet. John's Hope, however, is hanging on strongly at the half furlong. They can't get to him, I'm Scarlet, nor can Sovereign Slipper, and the grey is going to make racing history. John's Hope goes on and wins the Golden Slipper, a length and a quarter to I'm Scarlet.
And it was April already, and the Victorian League football season opened for 1972. Nearly 73,000 fans flocked to the MCG to see traditional rivals Richmond and Collingwood, with the Tigers getting home by 4 points in a soul-stirring finish. In tennis, former Australian Davis Cup captain Harry Hopman returned to Melbourne on a brief visit from America.
Welcome back to Melbourne, your old home ground, as it were.
Nice to be back too.
Harry, do you consider yourself now an American?
Oh no, I'm an Australian, very much so.
But will you ever return to Australia?
I wouldn't like to say yes, definitely I would. I'm so engrossed in what I'm doing over there in America and seem to be kept so busy that it's hard to even get back for a little while.
Well, in brief, Harry, what is the purpose of this visit with all these young tennis stars?
Well, as I see it, American Airlines wanted something to publicise the fact that they're coming to Australia these days, and they got together with World Tennis, and the woman who owns World Tennis, Gladys Heldman, phoned me and asked would I come out as a sort of chaperone coach, and I said yes, I would like to do so, and the main reason for it was twofold. The two main reasons were that I felt this sort of thing could generate into something worldwide among junior tennis people.
It was Easter time, and the Doncaster handicap at Randwick went to the Grey Flash Gunsynd with Roy the Boy in the saddle. Carrying 9-7, Gunsynd won like a champion from Triton and Big Butch.
Into the straight now, and the leader, Jansvale, about a length and a half from Triton, about to tackle him quickly. Here's Gunsynd down the outside with a strong run, and Baggett's in the picture too. Zambari weakling, followed by Coalition at the furlong post, and Triton raced up and took the lead from Jansvale. Here's the grey Gunsynd out after Triton. It's Gunsynd tackling Triton about a half furlong from home. The top weight draws to the lead. Wide out, Big Butch is flying home. Gunsynd's got the lead, getting near the line. He's hanging on, and Gunsynd wins brilliantly. The Doncaster about a neck or so from Big Butch, wide out, and Triton.
April the 3rd, 1972, and the stall gift goes to 25-year-old Barry Foley for the second time. Running 11.8 from 7.5 yards, Foley caught the outmarkers at the 100 and won Australia's most glamorous professional foot race by 4 inches.
They're on the blocks for the 1972 store gift final. Wilson standing, they're set, go, off and running in the gift final. Wilson first out to McNamara, Bucks, Foley and Ralph. Up towards the halfway mark, the 5 runners are in line. Bucks the narrow leader, McNamara doing well, Foley. McNamara narrowly, Foley in front. Barry Foley might take it out, and Foley won it. Barry Foley has won his second store gift. A magnificent run from Foley. A magnificent run, and Foley has joined Bill Howard as the only man to win 2 store gifts.
And here is Barry after the win.
Congratulations, Barry. How do you feel?
Oh, tremendous. Really thrilled.
You joined Bill Howard as the only runner to win 2 store gifts.
Yeah, it's tremendous, isn't it? And nowhere near as good as Bill, but I got a couple of better marks than him, so I'm lucky.
Well, that was a very modest statement. Were you confident during the actual run, Barry?
Well, I wasn't that confident. There seemed to be a bit of a hesitation at the start. Someone seemed to move, fumble or something, and it seemed to be longer. I got away, thought all right, Ralph got away brilliantly. And then I just kept on running, trying to get to Ralph, worried about Ralph, and then the 100, I could see the rest of them were back in my sights, and I thought, this is it. I'll go home strong and I'll win it.
You're listening to The Big Year, sports highlights of 1972. On Easter Monday, 1972, Gun Sin saddled up for the 2-mile Sydney Cup but found the task with his big weight beyond him on a heavy track. The Victorian stayer, Dark Suit, trained by George Hanlon, surprised by winning at 16 to 1.
He's out in the middle of the track and leads for home past the 2 bar, about 3 lengths from Dark Suit, 2.5 to 3 lengths further back. Gunsin plodding on, and they were followed by Royal Shah and then Tails. But Marseille looks to have the cup one, although Dark Suit's the big danger at the furlong. Now Dark Suit getting another up on the inside has joined Marseille. Dark Suit took the lead. Marseille can't find anything when tackled. They're a mile in front of Royal Shah and Tails. Dark Suit plodding on gamely, still in front about 50 yards from home. Marseille wavering in the going, and Dark Suit comes on to win the cup easily at the finish from Marseille. 8 lengths away third is Royal Shah. Tails a great fourth. Then Gunsin from Dark Diamond.
In boxing, Muhammad Ali won his non-title fight in Vancouver against George Chuvalo, and boxing fans were again wondering if another heavyweight title fight against the champ Smokin' Joe Frazier would come off. Ali himself was desperate to hear the music of a ring announcer say, but would they? Ali, although still a great fighter, seemed to be a light of other days. Later in the year, he was to be cut about the eyes after stopping light heavyweight Bob Foster. For the champ Smokin' Joe Frazier, he just quietly sat back, smoking the old pipe.
I'm ready anytime he's ready. The boxing commissioner says inside of a year before we can face each other again. I'll be more than glad to fight him any place, anytime, and anywhere.
I read the other day that Ali said he didn't need you so much as you need him.
I need him for what?
The money.
The money? I think I got enough money to last me from now on. Don't ever have to put the gloves on anymore.
Well, what about Muhammad Ali, Joe? You looking forward to another crack at him?
I got something for him.
In football in Melbourne, Des Tuddenham received a depressed fracture of the cheekbone against Geelong, and Brent Croswell was reported for striking the umpire in a match at Princes Park. Yes, the Victorian football season was in full swing, and St Kilda turned in their best ever performance on May the 6th with a record score at the expense of Richmond. The Saints kicked 24 goals in 4 quarters of champagne football to swamp the Tigers and inflict a most humiliating defeat. On May the 11th, Terry Waters, one of the all-time greats of Collingwood, announces his retirement from the game. Winner of the Copeland Trophy, veteran of 163 matches, state player, and a brilliant wet-weather footballer, Waters quit because of his indifferent form.
It's becoming harder for me to meet all the demands of league football. I'm not playing as well as I hoped I could, and I feel that, in fairness to myself and to the club, it's the only course of action to be taken.
You started off very well for Collingwood. Have you been a bit disappointed since, Terry?
I have, yes. I think perhaps the ambition to play 10 years football and qualify for life membership was what really got me firing early in the season. And now that I've achieved that, I think perhaps maybe my whole mental approach might have subconsciously slipped a little or something like that.
Back to racing, and the Adelaide Cup went to the strong-staying 3-year-old Wine Taster, and experts were asking themselves, is the horse another rain lover?
Wine Taster's ducked clear on the turn with 1.5 furlongs to go. He's gone about 2 in front. In second, facing Star Contender now. Rough and tumble on the outside, but at the furlong post, Wine Taster's got the cup well won. 1/2 furlong to go. Rough and tumble and Star Contender plugging on, but Wine Taster, Langby shaking the whip at it.
On May the 23rd, 1972, Australia's champion sprint cyclist John Nicholson is given an ultimatum by the Amateur Cycling Association of Australia to return from overseas and train with the Australian Olympic team for the Munich Olympics or be banned from the Australian squad. Nicholson was in Europe getting in top-class competition to prepare for Munich, but was asked to return by June the 30th or else. A gold medal winner at the Edinburgh Commonwealth Games, Nicholson was considered a big chance for gold at Munich. But Mr. Bill Young, spokesman for the Amateur Cycling Association of Australia, made this announcement about Nicholson.
Now, the setup in Australia is, and Australian cycling has always been adamant on this one question. The team will leave as a unit from Australia, and John Nicholson is no exception to that position.
It was reasonable to assume that Nicholson would get much better competition.
What a lot of rot. I've just pointed out where we won a world championship and a gold medal with sprinters. Let John Nicholson come here and he can train with the professionals, Smith and so forth in Australia, whom he'd have to beat anyway.
Is the association concerned that he may stay over there and we'll lose a very good cyclist and a possible medal winner?
That is entirely John. The game is bigger than the individual. And Australian cycling caters for cyclists, not individuals.
Nicholson did return and trained with the Australian squad later to take out a silver medal. In the month of May, Roy Higgins was again in the news when he eclipsed Bill Williamson's Victorian riding record for the most number of wins in a season. It was a magnificent effort. Kevin Langby took the honours in Sydney. Well, it was June already and the big Brisbane Racing Carnival was underway. Crack New Zealand miler Triton lumped 9-4 to victory in a three-way finish to the rich Stradbroke Handicap.
Round the home bender in the Stradbroke Handicap, and the leader was Ben Gallalad, was followed there by Zambari. Here's Triton, and Charlton Boy is looming up gamely on the outside, and here's Upstairs with the big run. Down to the furlong pole, they're spread all over the track. It's Triton, then Charlton Boy, Ben Gallalad. The next horse was Mr. Sound with about 50 yards to go. Triton and Ben Gallalad, and have a spot right through near the inside. They go the line, hit together, hit it. Triton, Ben Gallalad and have a spot have hit it together. Can't pick one of the three.
And the 2-mile Brisbane Cup was an all-Queensland affair with the mini mare Mode streaking to the line ahead of Tails.
So it's Mode and Tails together, and Blue Lock's after Mode and Tails, and the head and heads go. Up goes little Mode. Mode's got a head in front, and she's got the cup one. Away goes Mode. Mode first. Tails second, third Blue Lock, then coming Royal Code.
In June 1972, 12,000 miles away in England, the second cricket test against Australia at Lords was described as Bob Massey's match. The West Australian swing bowler took 16 wickets in a remarkable and record-breaking test debut. Australia levelled the series 1-1, and Captain Ian Chappell said this about his team.
It's got tremendous team spirit, and I think this was really borne out in the match today, or over the last few days. We were 1-0 down, and you know, we'd been defeated quite regularly in the last few years, but I think they showed their great team spirit and fighting spirit to come out here and win this one.
About Bob Massey's great performance, Ian said,
Bob Massey's bowling performance was certainly a great one, and, well, you know, something you dream about, isn't it? If it was your 20th test match, it'd be a great performance, but to think it's your first one makes it even greater.
The England skipper Ray Illingworth was asked about Massey's feat.
He's a very good bowler. He bowled in very helpful conditions. People have criticised our batting, but I think a few of them have criticised after going out and had a knock. They've found it very hard work making runs out there.
Do you think he can be mastered for the next 3 tests?
A lot depends on conditions. You're playing test match bowlers against test match batting. If they get a good wicket, a good sunny day, you expect batsmen to make runs. If you get a good bowling conditions, you expect bowlers to get wickets. And that's the way I look at it.
You're listening to The Big Year, sports highlights of 1972. The Wimbledon Tennis Championships in June 1972 saw a rising star, an American whiz kid, Chris Evert, making her first appearance. Before the titles, Chris said this about her possibilities.
Well, I came here basically to gain new experience and see how I can handle the pressure. And it's just, I'm not expecting to win it, you know. I think that's pretty far-fetched, but I would like to live up to my seeding, and I think that would be my goal right now.
History records how Miss Evert was beaten in a great quarter-finals match by Australia's Yvonne Goolagong. But Billie Jean King took the women's singles and Stan Smith won the men's singles. In trotting in the month of June, Welcome Advice won the 1972 Inter-Dominion Pacing Championship with a devastating burst in the final to beat Manara and Reichman. The titles were held at Albion Park, Brisbane for the first time.
Trying hard. Down on the inside is Miguel Sal, and here comes Reichman round the outside with a big run. 2 furlongs to go. Manara in front from Manaroa. Third on the inside, Miguel Sal, and Reichman sprinting hard round the outside, but he's 3 deep. down the side, a furlong and a half to go. Monara in front from Manaroa, and Reitman down the outside with a big run. My Girl Sal beaten, then Bold David. On the bend for home, Monara in front from Reitman, moving to second. Manaroa's only plodding on fairly. Monara, though, has kicked well clear at the half furlong. Monara in front from Reitman, coming well, and down the outside, Welcome Advice might beat them all. Welcome Advice flying and run.
Probably no racing story hit the headlines with such dramatic impact in 1972 as the Royal School case. Royal School, a poorly performed racehorse, won the Muntham Handicap at a Friday meeting at Casterton in Victoria after being backed from 25 to 1 to 7 to 4. The horse outclassed his rivals to win on the bit by 3 lengths with young Stephen Wood in the saddle, and something like $140,000 was won on the gelding. Subsequently, the stewards at the meeting impounded the horse, and he was inspected by racing stewards at the Melbourne Hunt Club on the following Monday. Later, 2 stewards made sworn affidavits that the horse they inspected was not the horse which won the Muntham Handicap under the name of Royal School. 4 persons were charged by stewards: owner Rick Renzella, trainer Ross Affleck, jockey Stephen Wood and float driver Gary Canavan. Mr Renzella had denied that the horse Regal Vista had won the race at Casterton and insisted it was Royal School. The upshot of the Royal School case, Rick Renzella incurs a life disqualification and trainer Ross Affleck also gets life. Stephen Wood, the jockey, got 20 years and float driver Gary Canavan was given 10 years. It was a sensational case right out of the pages of Nat Gould. On July the 1st, 1972, the Grand National Hurdle Race goes to Al Leo with Kelvin Burke in the saddle. Burke also rode last year's winner Faux Pas, who couldn't get warm in the 1972 Grand National and finished 4th.
Leo a half length in front at the last from Solom, and then Coogee Bay and Faux Pas. Al Leo drew a length clear. Solom under the whip is fighting back strongly, and then Coogee Bay stopping from Faux Pas. But Al Leo has improved his own weight here today to win the Grand National Hurdle by 3 lengths. Solom second, Coogee Bay came again about a neck away third, 3 lengths to Faux Pas. He must have thought it was the Melbourne Warrnambool bike race.
At Doomben on the same day, the 10,000 went to the local sprinter Ben Lad, ridden by Alan Galogly. The favourite Triton ran 4th.
Ben Lad's in front past the furlong pole, and he's got it when I say Ben Lad. Nicely clear of Charlton Boy, and Ben Lad will win easily. Ben Lad wins from Charlton Boy. Third amber due from Triton.
July the 8th, 1972, and Kelvin Burke wins the Grand National Steeple on Ramley to take out the big jumping double. Ramley was part owned by the then Premier of Victoria, the Right Honourable Sir Henry Bolte, who cheered him to the line.
If he jumps the last, he'll win. Ramley 3 in front. He's over it safely to Farmore. 8 lengths to Lord Montini, Flowing Flight, Mystic Moon. But it's Ramley coming down towards the furlong post, 5 in front. And it's another big win for the Libs. Ramley by 5 lengths. Second is Farmore. 8 or 10 lengths, Lord Montini, Flowing Flight, I'll Be Back, Mr Moon, and then Raymond. But Ramley, hard-held, wins the National by 6 lengths to Farmore.
In Brisbane, the Doomben Cup goes to the 25 to 1 chance, knee high, and a photo from Roy Higgins' mount, Rough and Tumble.
There goes Big Butchie sweeping round the outside, fairly wide with Breathalyzer down to the furlong pole. Dale's Gift led the way. There goes Rough and Tumble up on the outside, challenging. Big Butch running on fairly well. It's Dale's Gift and Jansbow. Rough and Tumble and knee high and ahead and head go. The leader's Dale's Gift. From the knee high, Rough and Tumble and Tails head and head. They drive the post knee high and so they hit it. Knee high, all Rough and Tumble from Tails.
Back on the football scene in Victoria, there was a sensation on July the 11th when Collingwood ruck rover John Greening was felled behind the play at Moorabbin and suffered serious injury. Greening, through his wife, sued the St Kilda footballer Jim O'Day and the St Kilda Football Club for unspecified damages. Greening was semi-conscious in the Alfred Hospital and remained that way for some time. The VFL investigating officer, Mr Jack Chessel, placed a report of the incident in the hands of the Victorian Football League, who instituted a tribunal hearing, and player Jim O'Day was subsequently disqualified for 10 weeks. On another tragic note, champion jumps jockey Ted Byrne was killed in a car accident on the night of July the 18th. Byrne was one of the most colourful jockeys ever to ride on Australian tracks, and his untimely death came as a shock to all sports fans, and especially the racing fraternity. Back to the Royal School case, and owner Rick Renzella and trainer Ross Affleck lost their appeals against life disqualification. But jockey Stephen Wood and float driver Gary Canavan successfully appealed against some charges and had their sentences reduced. Wood from 20 years to 2 years and Canavan from 10 years to 2 years. Peter Landy speaks to Rick Renzella, trainer Ross Affleck and jockey Stephen Wood.
Well, Rick, first of all, you must be very disappointed in the decision.
Partly disappointed. I'm disappointed we haven't got out of it, mate, but the other half have been cleared, and I fear we'll be cleared by the VRC.
Now, you are going to appeal to the VRC?
Yes, yes.
You have got 4 days.
Well, yeah, we'll put them in tomorrow.
Do you think you got a fair hearing?
I don't know if we did, but the others have, you know.
Well, Ross, you're obviously very disappointed in the decision.
Yes, very disappointed. My name wasn't cleared.
Ross, what are you going to do now?
Well, I'm sure I'll appeal to the VRC and hope that things turn better there.
As far as training goes, have you been in the racing business all your life?
Well, it's the only trade I really know, and, well, if it doesn't come through, well, the wild blue yonder, as they say, that's exactly what it is.
Jockey of Royal School, Stephen Wood. Well, Steve, you've got your penalty reduced from 20 years to 2 years. You must be very happy about that for a start.
Well, I'm very relieved. It gives me a bit of a chance, you know.
Are you going to appeal to the VRC on the 2 years disqualification?
I'll be talking to my solicitor and be advised by him as what to do. But I can guarantee it's a load off my mind. I've had to live with this for the last 2.5 months, and you know, it's just, you know.
Well, it's certainly a lot better than it was, isn't it?
Tremendous.
Back to football, and the Victorian League Tribunal had its busiest period of the year in the month of August 1972, with multiple reports to consider in successive weeks. Hawthorn's big mod ruckman, Don Scott, went for 2 weeks for striking after pleading guilty.
You know, an incident that did happen, I did actually hit him. There was no malice of forethought or anything along this line. You know, a lot of things, you know, do happen in reflex action. People do get killed by a reflex action when they're not, people aren't wholly in control of their mind. Now, you know, I've done it, I've admitted it. I wasn't, you know, it was a reflexive action of self-protection or frustration or something along this line, and I did commit the act, and there's no way out of it.
Cricket in the month of August 1972, and England win the Ashes, but Australia squares the series with a great win in the final test at the Oval. And the captains after the series. Firstly, the Australian skipper, Ian Chappell.
Well, I think, you know, in my own mind, I think that this is a pretty fair result, really, of the cricket that's been played in the 5 tests. I don't think anybody could sort of, you know, point anywhere and complain that they should have won this or they should have, you know, had an advantage here. I think it's a pretty fair result.
Is this one of the best series you've ever played in, personally?
I'd have to say it was the best I've ever played in, yes.
And England skipper, Ray Illingworth.
The cricket itself has been wonderful cricket. As Ian said earlier on, if people want the money back from this, then they're hard to please.
In Sydney in September, and the Rugby League Grand Final. Manly stormed to a 1914 win over East Sydney to win its first Rugby League Grand Final at the Sydney Cricket Ground. A jubilant Manly secretary, Ken Arthurson, said after the match, "It's a dream come true. We've waited for 25 years. Manly, beaten in 5 previous Grand Finals, had been trying to win the premiership since it entered first grade in 1947. East was trying to win its first Grand Final since 1945, but it was Manly, premiers in 1972. In September also, the Victorian football season was drawing to a close with the league final 5, Carlton, Richmond, Collingwood, St Kilda and Essendon. And Collingwood's giant ruckman, Len Thompson, won the coveted Brownlow medal staged at the Chaucer restaurant in Canterbury, Victoria, in a glittering ceremony.
Quite honestly, don't know what to say. I don't think there's very much I can say, except there's a thanks to a lot of people who have helped me sort of come from 2 years of bad football to this year being the best years possibly I may ever have.
The Victorian football finals, and St Kilda tipped out Essendon in the elimination match, while Richmond beat Collingwood in the qualifying match. Then Carlton and Richmond played a draw in the second semi-final at VFL Park, while the Saints beat the Magpies in the first semi. The clash between Carlton and St Kilda was a hard-fought struggle before the Blues got home to win narrowly. With Richmond already in the grand final with a resounding win in the semi-final replay, they were screaming hot favourites to beat Carlton for the flag. But in one of the greatest displays ever in a grand final in Victoria, the Blues steamrolled the Tigers to win 28 goals 9 to 22-18. It was an avalanche of goals before 112,000 fans.
Bingo coming in. Goes for a big drop punt going into Woods. Jones is under the ball. Can he mark it? No one. Boyanich, probably the first time for the day, he's taken a clean mark. Decides to handball it over to Bartlett. Bartlett with the ball now. With a high kick taking it to Woods. The centre wing position, Dixon gets a smack in the ear, goes on with the game now. It's passed out to him. Left foot kick, plays it high. Has a chance, but it's Clay. Oh, Clay from the front.
right in the 10-yard square. Recovers with a punch. Out towards Walls. Walls dummies around. Hold around the neck. And decides that nothing goes on. Billy Dowler said it's nothing. It's a no free kick. It goes over to Sproul on the centre wing. Everyone stopped. Sproul plays it towards the centre. Has Stewart. Stewart picks up the ball. Goes around with his right foot. Kicks it out there. Has a chance for Richmond. They go on to Barry Richardson. Richardson fires at the goal. Offline. And it's 3 for 1 point.
Carlton taking their time about things now. The siren goes. Carlton are premiers. Carlton are premiers. John Nichols being embraced by the club members there and the players around him, the club officials, as the scoreboard shows Carlton 28 goals, 9, 177 points, beating Richmond. 22 goals, 18, 150 points. Carlton win the grand final by 27 points.
You're listening to The Big Year, sports highlights of 1972. And, of course, the month of September also brought the 1972 Olympic Games in Munich.
20 Jahre, schwarze Haare, vom Berufsvertreter, Kennzeichen Geld wie Heu.
Oh, der Computer, Nummer 3. So für mich
The arrival of the Olympic flame. Now, after 29 days and 7 hours and close to 6,000 athletes, the last torchbearer in this long chain from ancient Greece enters the 1972 Olympic Stadium in Munich.
Gould, the wonder swimmer from Sydney, won 3 gold medals to be Australia's most outstanding competitor. And a little girl from Shell Harbour, New South Wales, and Beverly Whitfield, surprised with a shock win in the women's 200 metres breaststroke. Beverly showed the qualities that go to make a champion, and above all, she showed the Australian will to win.
But Whitfield is starting to move into second place. Whitfield, I'd say, is in second place, about equal with Clevenger, and close up next is Schoenfeld. 25 metres to go, stepping over. Whitfield is moving into second place. Whitfield is coming with a big burst now. 15 metres to go, stepping over. Clevenger and Whitfield. Here's a great go, stepping over. Whitfield finishing brilliantly. She might have made it. She got there. Whitfield has won. It's a gold medal for Australia.
Shane Gould proved beyond doubt at Munich that she was the greatest woman swimmer in the world today when she crucified the opposition in the 400 metres freestyle with a scorching pace from the outset and a runaway win.
And there's the crowd starting to roar now and increase the volume as Shane Gould turns. She has 50 metres to cover. She's within 45 metres of a gold medal for Australia, and the crowd is driving her along with thunderous applause. About 35 metres out, and Shane Gould is clear, almost 2 to 3 lengths over. Rothamer and Caligaris, who are trying hard to get to Shane Gould, but it's 25 metres to go, and it's the Australian girl, Shane Gould, with an unbeatable lead. Stand up and start cheering in Australia, because Shane Gould is annihilating the opposition. Listen to that crowd, and it's all Shane Gould and a gold medal for Australia. Shane Gould has annihilated the opposition.
And here, as we moved into October 1972, the racing scene was again in the spotlight, with the Epsom Handicap at Randwick going to Triton in a great battle with the champion Tommy Smith train Gunsind, and the Victorian stayer Altai Khan with Mick Malyon in the saddle taking the Metropolitan. Goldbrick, ridden by Ray Selkrig, won the AJC Derby, and back in Victoria, an almost unknown colt in Sobar won the Guineas. In a brief career on the turf, Sobar went from strength to strength, winding up favourite and winning the Caulfield Cup at 2 to 1, a race he never had lost at any stage.
At the 700, it's Sobar by 2 lengths to Lord Nelson. Third, Stormy Seas, dropping out Scotch and Dry. They're followed by Hampton's Pride. Gunsin coming around them hard. Gay Icarus in trouble, and Grand Scale, but with 500 to go. Sobar looked to be coasting. 2 lengths now to Sheriff. They're followed by Grand Scale, Gunsin, Hampton's Pride, Stormy Seas. Into the straight, the 3-year-olds, 3 lengths in front, Sobar. From Sheriff, Stormy Seas, the challenger now. Sheriff's gone from Gunsin. Then Grand Scale at the 200. Sobar a length and a half clear. Stormy Seas and Gunsin trying, but the 3-year-old's too good. He mightn't be a Tulloch, but he's not far short of it. And Sobar's won by 2 lengths. Second, Stormy Seas, a length to Gunsin.
But Sobar blotted his copybook in the Victoria Derby when sent out at 11-4 on. He was beaten by the South Australian 3-year-old Diana. Scratched from the Melbourne Cup, Sobar was sent for a spell, but there's little doubt that in Sobar we have a rising star of the turf. In October, the traditional Melbourne to Warrnambool bike race is held, with riders coming from all over Australia to compete in the 163-mile cycling classic. It was a surprise win to Coburg rider Linton Sedley, as Alf Brooks recalls.
Sedley, light blue colours. He's starting to make the climb. He's about a third of the way up, and the back bunch are coming at him like a rocket. He's still got about 40 yards clear of the other two. The back bunch may run into the third and second placing. Up towards the line comes Linton Sedley to take it out, and he's got it. He's over the line. Here's the battle for second and third, and the big bunch is coming at them. Cheerio on the inside, and Paul Cheerio has taken second place.
And the road classic, the Sun Cycling Tour, went to Vic Adams. And the richest weight for age race in Australia, the WS Cox Plate, went to the Grey Flash Gunsin, who broke Tulloch's stakes winning record.
It's Gunsin in front with Allshot coming at him from Munich. Gunsin's under the whip, but he's holding Allshot. Allshot trying hard, but the great grey Gunsin in front. He's too good. What a champion. The crowd roars and Gunsin wins a length to Allshot. Munich third.
And finally, the 1972 Melbourne Cup, the Tasmanian stayer Piping Lane, with South Australian horseman Johnny Letts in the saddle, shocked punters by winning the Cup at 40-1.
On the turn, 700 metres out, Scotch and Dry the leader, but about to be tackled by Old Icahn and Magnifique on the outside. Gunsin about a length behind them, followed by Glen Lang making a run from Double Irish and Hayburner. In the straight, Old Icahn swept to the lead with Magnifique poised to challenge. Out wide on the track is Hayburner and Double Irish, and then Gunsin pushing through and battleground the rails. Magnifique got to the lead at the 300-metre mark in the Cup. Gunsin out after it from Double Irish, battleground, Dark Suit, Hayburner, and now Stormy Seas. Magnifique clear, but Stormy Seas is flying to it, and Piping Lane getting a split. Piping Lane races up to Magnifique, takes the lead in the Cup. Out wide is Gunsin, Stormy Seas, but Piping Lane's going to win the Cup. A length and a quarter to Magnifique, very close for third, Double Irish.
And with the end of the Spring Racing Carnival and the World Cup going to the Republic of China for the first time, the sporting year of 1972 was drawing to a close, with only the Australian Open Tennis Championships to wind up a magnificent year in sport in Australia. The big year was indeed a big year in sport in 1972, and we look forward to another great sporting scene in 1973. The race commentators in this program: Bill Collins in Melbourne, Des Hoisted in Sydney, Keith Nowt in Brisbane, Bert Day in Adelaide. Sun Turf journalist Keith Hilly was on the spot with race interviews. And this is Lawrence Costin, and this has been the big year sports highlights of 72.